You know what? It is St. Patty's Day, but I said I wasn't going to bring this attention, but I have to. Deadspin. We made Deadspin front page.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I guess I did. Chris Party, what's happening? He's from the Bay Area, columnist at Deadspin.
What up?
He wrote an article the other day about what we were discussing with Andrew Wiggins, and everybody's like, the question is no. It's not your business what's going on with Andrew Wiggins. And we all agree with that. We all agree.
In fact, we stated that on every front end over and over, yeah.
And we did have the conversation about it for a month. We finally did. And there was fans who said, man, yeah, it's all good. We want him to do his thing.
Which was
when he comes back, he comes back. And we'll welcome him with open arms.
Yeah.
Then, when he wrote the article, I sent him a DM and said, hey, did you listen to the segment? They said, yes, sir, not live, but I did listen to the segment and saw some of the comments on the initial post. I'm a Bay Area kid, so I tap in with y'all and keep up with what's going on often. But it seems like you probably disagree with my take. I didn't even reply. I don't even care. So then this morning, I guess our YouTubers are like, yo, Morning Roast made front page on Deadspin. So I look it up, and the headline says, so the Morning Roast host wants smoke. We hate to be the ones that ask Bonte Hill, but you mad, bro? How do you interpret that with me being angry at you? I do not care about you. I don't care about your website. I don't. I didn't even know Deadspin was a thing. After, I don't know if it went back. What happened? It just went away for a while. It came back, I guess. And
they had a lot of people leave the company.
Gotcha.
Very mass
We know
exodus.
nothing about that.
Right. So one of his first lines is, great Drake impersonation. Getting all in your feelings after being called out for posting a tweet about Andrew Wiggins' personal issue, an issue he wants to keep private. Why go through the trouble of getting worked up after a tweet's been taken down? Let's not be so sensitive. Then he, cites Drake. Nice promo, BH. You even inserted a WWE reference while claiming to not know Deadspin is missing. Wow, what a bird. Although you read the article, I actually just skimmed through it. I still didn't read it. With the turnover rate of that station, trust me, you won't exist much longer either.
Wow.
Nobody called your show stupid. Relax and settle your nerves. Well, Chris Party, there's your 5 seconds of fame.
Well, look.
Nobody's mad at you. Nobody cares. It's just, wow.
It's let's just move on. For everyone, let's just move on. If anyone was offended by the tweet, the wording of the tweet, which we all agree was not worded appropriately nor reflective of the conversation that we were having, which wasn't even about what's going on with Wiggins. It was more about hypotheticals of when we've had leaves of absence and how we've dealt with them and things like that, and how the team could deal with it. And it was a much more layered, contextual, nuanced conversation than the tweeting. It's our bad for wording the tweet improperly.
So his headline is, Bonte Hill, you mad, bro? Well, it sounds like you're the one who's mad.
You know what? I'll take whatever advertisement they can give. Thank you for the article, Deadspin. I appreciate it.
Like
and let's move on.
Yeah, no, I just looked at it. I was like, damn, all right. Anyway, Evan Barnes, I'm not mad at him.
If it brings one new listener, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chris Party, for that article. Evan Barnes, what's happening, my man? Memphis commercial appeal was so good last week that we had to get him back on this week. Of course, the Warriors play the Grizzlies tomorrow night. The Grizzlies on the front end of a back-to-back today in San Antonio. So they'll be back at FedEx Forum. And, of course, we got all the Ja news. Evan, what's happening, my man? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Bonte. Are you feeling Irish today? You feeling like you need to get pinched with all this drama that has been going on up there?
I do need a green beer. I may have a green beer today. I don't even drink, Evan,
Bonte
but I may have
one.
Yeah, there you go. I may get a green brew here. I didn't wear green, though, Evan.
Let's go to Shannon Arms after the show.
We should.
I mean, you tell me, man. What's the Irish love up there? I got a green shirt on here. There's a place here in Memphis called Silky O'Sullivan's. I might want to stop by a little later. Like, what's the Irish vibe up in the Bay Area?
What do we have on Gary Street? Abby's Tavern. You got Ireland 31s or 32s. I always call it 31s, but it's 32s.
There are in
of
Ireland.
course. You got Shannon Arms.
Yeah.
Of course. You got a few Irish
Little
bars
Shamrock over there near the park. There's plenty of them. The old Fahey's, which is now Carl's Beacon. Even though it's technically not an Irish bar, I would consider it an Irish bar. There's many of them. The Dubliner. We can go on and on. I mean, this is my wheelhouse, Evan. I mean, come on.
Well, Shafty, I'll take your word for it. Next time I'm up in the Bay, we may have to go peruse a little pub life, I guess.
No doubt.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could definitely do that. It's a lot of fun out here. How much fun is it right now with Memphis winning games without Ja Morant? Seems like Dylan Brooks is really taking the nation by storm.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Obviously, it's been like a cloud over the city, I think, with Ja, just because obviously, everyone's been kind of waiting to see what's happened, and now that news has been out that, Ja has received his official punishment, I think there are people who are mixed. Like, yes, the Grizzlies have been winning games, but now with Ja coming back, I think there's a little bit of curiosity on, like, how's it going to look next week when he's back? You know, he'll obviously be embraced really warmly here, but just where is he mentally? How is his mental state? How is this time away started the process that he's going to be on for the foreseeable future, changing his actions and things of that nature? So I think on the court, you're happy the Grizzlies are taking care of business, but I think now with Ja coming back, the next step is not just to see how they're going to continue to win games, but also how is his mood? How is he going to readjust back in Memphis, you know, adjusted to this new chapter, really?
Yeah. The Warriors get them tomorrow, and obviously there's just a lot there between the Warriors and Grizzlies. Me and Bonte disagree here. Shocker. He does not think it's a rivalry between the Grizzlies and the Warriors. I think he thinks the rivalry is more fans, right? I think there is a rivalry. I think this is obvious. The players don't like each other. I don't think it needs to be even in terms of the amount of wins on both sides. How are you and Memphis Grizzlies players, fans, organizers, how are they viewing it? Is it a rivalry to them?
Oh, it's a rivalry here. I mean, the minute after Draymond Green said what he said, and I was in the room where Draymond said that he didn't consider it a rivalry, and I was there when I asked Steph Curry if he considered this a rivalry, and he doesn't. I went around and we asked Jaren Jackson Jr. about it, and he said yes, without question. I mean, they clearly get up for this game. They're clearly motivated for this game. I think fans see this as a rivalry because of, you know, there's a little bit of dislike, but there's also healthy respect. I mean, there's obviously the last 2 years, if we even go back to the play-in game in 21, there's games where people have been invested in that have said, all right, that's a team that you keep your eye on. That's a team you get up for a little bit more. And Jaren even said that. Jaren said there are some games you get up for more than others, and this is clearly one of them. So I think that obviously the Grizzlies and Warriors play tonight, their respective games, but Saturday's game, even though it's not on national TV, there's going to be a little bit more hype from the Grizzlies side because they want to try to make a statement. And especially now that it looks like, you know, there are playoff scenarios where the Grizzlies and Warriors might meet in the first round if this plays out. So, yeah, I think the Grizzlies and the fans certainly feel like this is a team that they have their eye on, and there's a little bit more juice that happens when these two teams play.
No doubt. Evan Barnes here on the Morning Roast. Of course, he writes for the Memphis Commercial Appeal, covers the Memphis Tigers basketball team. All right, are you covering March Madness, by the way? Are you traveling?
No. So we have a basketball writer who's in Columbus right now. So I'm covering the football team, and I've actually been helping out with our women's basketball team in Memphis. They're in the WNIT, but now we got our team in Columbus. They're playing tonight against FAU. So I will be watching that game and watching the Grizzlies from my home.
Had a good win in the Conference USA title game against Houston. The Houston Cougars blow them out there. I like watching Penny Hardaway coach. We're talking Grizzlies and Warriors tomorrow night. Of course, the Warriors play the Hawks today. Grizzlies take on the Spurs. It's a back-to-back for both teams, the back end of a back-to-back. So Ja Morant, your thoughts on the situation? He's going to come back, what is it, Monday against the Dallas Mavericks, 8-game suspension. What did you think about this suspension first and foremost after he went to Cal State for what, 24, 48 hours?
So let me give some background. So he's eligible to play on Monday. Taylor Jenkins said that he's probably not going to play because he has to ramp up after not playing for 2 weeks. So our best bet is we think Ja will probably return Wednesday or Friday when the Grizzlies play the Houston Rockets at home. Also, Ja Morant bobblehead night is on Friday, so thinking about a day that might happen, that's a possibility. We don't know, but it's more than likely he'll come back Wednesday or Friday. Now, as for the suspension, I think given what the league found in their investigation, that they clearly could not find that a gun was, that Ja brought the gun there, that he had the gun on the team plane or the locker room or anything like that. I think the suspension was kind of what people, what could be expected given that, they had to go on what they went on. And the surprise that I thought was they credited him for time served. So technically, because Ja was away for 6 games, the suspension, as far as we know, really covers 2 games. So he's suspended for 8 games, 6 games for time served, 2 games. I think that's probably a reasonable one. Like, I thought Ja would have gotten a little bit more just because the Grizzlies hadn't officially suspended him or done anything. But it's clear that Taylor Jenkins said that they were waiting to see what the NBA was going to do. That's why they probably didn't make a move. So I think it was probably a way to get ahead of things. So obviously, I think it is what it is at this point. I mean, they couldn't find the gun. Ja clearly, they couldn't find the Ja brought it on the team plane. I think 8 games is pretty fair considering the recklessness of what happened. But I also think now the question is for Ja is, can he show what he's learned over these last, few days? Because he's been in counseling really more than just 48 hours. He was there. The Athletic reported about a week ago he went to Florida. So he's been there for a while. The question is, was that enough time for him to make the changes, get the basic help that he needs so that he can continue to grow? And I said this on our podcast at commercialappeal.com. It's not enough time, but I also say that because this is a process. I wasn't looking at this counseling as he's going to have everything solved. I looked at counseling as this is a start, and now we're going to see what happens. Let's see what decisions he makes after this. Let's see how he takes this therapy that he's received, these treatments, this advice that he's gotten, but also make tangible changes with his behavior, his family, his crew, his partners. All of them have to kind of like reconfigure how they, do this thing so that they can continue to grow and help Ja become more whole and a better person through this process. So that's kind of what I see about the situation, is that it's a fair suspension. Ja did what he needed to do for taking time away. And now let's see what happens next, because that's going to be the ultimate test to see, has he learned from what's happened and what he could have lost, frankly.
We're talking with Evan Barnes here. He's covering the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Warriors play the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow. So obviously the John Morant news that's going on right now. The organization, they can't babysit adults, right? 24/7. I don't expect them to. But in terms of maybe enabling behavior and having someone who's such a big star on the level of John Morant, I mean, like in terms of star power, is he the biggest, most powerful star the Grizzlies have ever had in that market? I don't know the answer. Maybe you can answer. But, do they bear any responsibility in what's gone down here in terms of enabling behavior, or maybe not punishing him, or at least setting rules in place prior to this?
Well, to answer your first question, yes. Ja is the biggest star they have had up to this point. Yes, the grit and grind Grizzlies were kind of like a cult hero team. Obviously, Zach Randolph is a beloved OG that, a lot of us who watch the NBA see him as right now. But as far as star power goes, there is no question. Ja is not just the biggest star the Grizzlies have had. I would argue he's the biggest star the city has had since Penny Hardaway. Wow. You're talking about somebody who has been just a comet of talent, a comet of winning, a comet of endorsements. I mean, he is as bright as anything the city has seen. So that's why there's a lot of personal investment with Ja, because obviously he's somebody who, kind of came up the same way Memphis folks did. He didn't have a lot of attention in high school. He had to earn the love at Murray State when he became an All-American. Yeah. So that's kind of where Ja fits in so well. As for the Grizzlies, I think, there are going to probably be some questions, down, even now and down the road about, could they have done things differently? Could they have made some signs? Could there have been some things they could have done to kind of protect Ja? And I think the Athletic did a great story where they talked about how, on road trips, they basically had to leave some cities early because they don't want Ja or some of the other guys to go out. They want to try to, hey, we're going to leave cities early to prevent some of that. Mm-hmm. I think, this is a test for the Grizzlies too. They've never had to deal with something like this. Right. And for an organization that's been very, closed in, they tend to keep a lot close to the vest. And I think the Grizzlies have tried to do as best as they can to manage this. This is new territory for them too. So we're going to see how they handle Ja now, because I think you can look back and wonder what they could have done differently. Obviously, what did they know previously with these incidents? Taylor Jenkins has really kind of, not said a lot about that. But I think this is important for them because they have to show that, obviously there's a theory that small market teams have to cater to their superstars because you're worried about them leaving. Ja's under contract for the next 5 years. Yeah. Even if he makes a trade demand, Ja is not going to leave unless the Grizzlies grant a request. So I think they have to be firm and tough with him and say, hey, we care about you. We love you. We value you. We love having you around. But we also have to do things differently because this could reflect poorly on the Grizzlies if Ja continues to go down this path, because people are going to go from, hey, what happens to Ja to, hey, did the Grizzlies know enough about this? So, yeah, There's a lot that the Grizzlies have to look at too as well.
Last one for you, Evan. Evan Barnes, we appreciate the time. Memphis Commercial Appeal here on the Morning Roast. The Grizzlies, in terms of the playoffs, they're a 3 seed right now, losing the tiebreaker to the Kings. Do they want to play, say, the Warriors in the first round? Because that is a possibility. Would the Grizzlies want that smoke?
Hey, they say they want it. The fans say they want it. I don't think anybody in this city would mind one bit if they had a rematch in the first round. I mean, I think some Bonte, look, you understand this, man. Some fans probably look at the Warriors' road record and say, yeah, we'll take that chance if we have home court advantage. Right. I mean, but, again, there's that risk. Do you want that? But I think the Grizzlies do. And if that happens, I mean, look, you'll love it. We'll love it as media covering it. The fans will love it. The players. I don't know if the Warriors will love it because they're probably looking at it like, here we go again. But, hey, I think it would be great for the NBA because, look, the NBA needs rivalry. The NBA needs teams that have a healthy dislike of each other. Mm-hmm. It would be great for everybody. So if it happens, I'm all for it. And plus, I would talk to you some more, Bonte.
Yeah, so there you go.
All for it.
We're going to go to the Irish bars out here in the city. That'd be a lot of fun. Exactly. It could be fun to get you back in the Bay Area. Evan Barnes, one of our favorites. Good stuff, man. Have fun tomorrow at FedEx Forum. Have fun watching the Tigers today in the NCAA tournament. A lot going on out there in Memphis, Tennessee. Evan, thanks for the time as always, brother.
Hey, Bonte, I love you, man. Take care. Shasky, be good, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Anytime. Evan Barnes always bringing the good stuff, man. Really well informed on the Memphis Grizzlies. A lot of good insight there about John Morant and